And welcome back to the European LCS. I'm Quickshot here, joined with Revolta from INTZ Esports from the CB LOL. Revolta, I hear that INTZ is in Germany and you guys are boot camping in Europe. Is this true?
Yeah, it's true.
Tell me a little bit about the boot camp. How did you end up here and what are you guys doing?
We're in Berlin and we decided to come to Europe because we really like the playstyle here and we watch a lot of UOL chess. So we had the chance, we had some free time because we're in playoffs, so we came here to practice.
Yeah, talking about the playoffs, you guys finished top 2 during the regular season. You're advanced to the semi-finals. How has the summer split been for you guys so far and knowing that you're in that semi-final?
So it's actually been a really hard split for us because the meta shifted like really hard and we had like a lot of time. We needed a lot of time to realize what the meta is right now, and the meta is like a mess basically. You can play almost everything. So this split has been like really hard, but we made it to semi-final, so I feel great.
That's fantastic. Congratulations on that. I took a look at the bracket, and I can see that you're in the bottom half of the bracket, meaning you've avoided Kaboom, you've avoided Pain, you've avoided the Keyed Stars. These are all names, along with INTZ, that a lot of the guys will be familiar with. How important is it that you're on that side of the bracket? Are they the strongest opponents?
I believe so. I think we got a good chance to see them play against each other. Like they'll basically murder themselves, and we hope to make it to the final against one of them. And I think we have a different style than other teams, so does Kaboom. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they do against each other because they really respect each other.
Yeah, definitely the case. The Brazilian scene is one that is getting a lot of respect internationally. CB LOL quarterfinals start this weekend for you guys at home that are interested. Just a few more quick questions and we'll let you get back to enjoying the show. Last time we actually saw you on the international stage, you guys lost to Besiktas. And that was in the International Wildcard Invitational. It was a qualifier for MSI. We've got MSI coming up. Are you guys looking at that seed? Are you guys looking at making it to Shanghai?
Sure. I think Brazil really needs the international experience, and whatever team goes to the international wildcard, I think if the team makes it to MSI, it's going to be really good for Brazil. Because what I've missed the most in Brazil is this international experience. That's why I think this bootcamp is being like really good for us.
Well, I'm exceptionally happy to have spoken to you. Would you like to give a shout out to any of your friends, maybe in Portuguese, to anybody watching around the world?
Yeah, sure. Eu queria agradecer a todos os fãs no Brasil por torcer por nós e por sempre apoiar a gente. Muito obrigado, vocês são fantásticos.
All right, one last prediction. Unicorns of Love or Origen? Who do you think is going to win this game?
I really like Origen. Like, I'm an Origen fanboy, I can say that. So I really hope that Origen wins.
All right, well, we're about to find out. I'd like to say obrigado, Revolta. Thank you to all the Portuguese fans. And don't forget, CB LOL quarterfinals this weekend. Let's head back up to the analyst desk to carry on with the show.
Thank you very much, Quickshot. Great interview there with Revolta from CB LOL. Hey, Fisho, I heard you were joining us here, and yes, you are.
Did you hear that? Yes,
yeah,
here I am. Where's my shout-out in Danish?
Pølse.
Thank you.
Anyway,
that's enough.
we want to get into game pretty quickly, but we do have to touch on the Unicorns of Love preparing to set up versus Origen, especially because we have that change in the mid lane for Origen. Power of Evil, as said by the team, as said by Xpeke, is feeling ill, not well, so Xpeke is the emergency substitute. What do you guys make of it? What's it going to change?
I think one of the initial things you have to look at is when the team made this change for Power of Evil, at the beginning of the split, they said we're going to play with 2 mid laners. This is the first time, for whatever reason, it's coming into effect. And Peke made a post earlier that said, I just didn't have a whole lot of time to practice to prepare for this. I'm going to try my best. I'm going to do what I can. Right, but he said, I've only played solo queue for a couple of games. He legitimately came out and said, I've only solo queued a couple of days prepared. So, I mean, that's not a lot of preparation. And mid lane meta isn't the most difficult thing right now, but Corki's not an old champion.
Oh, I mean, so the thing is, Origen said coming into the split that it was Power of Evil in spring. And then for summer, when we went to BU2, maybe they would try and play both mid laners, and maybe Pekka could be ready for playoffs in spring. Obviously, the guy hasn't had much time to practice. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff to do in Origen. Yes, he can play Corki. I think that could be a good pick for him. But like there's the likes of Quinn and so on, which he probably won't be familiar with.
That is fair.
And that's going to destroy him.
Yeah, super interesting. And OG, they need a pick-me-up after IEM Katowice. Unfortunately for them, We didn't expect that much, and it also didn't happen at IM Katowice as opposed to what Fnatic pulled out there. Some of the problems that they've had showed in the European LCS beforehand just kept repeating themselves there. Picked up one win in the series only versus TSM, but lost versus RNG and them in the end. And it must have been also just for the morale, not a good tournament to go to.
No, I mean, that's the thing. I kind of expected nothing from Origen, and I still got a bit disappointed from watching them play in the tournament because looking at the competition they were facing and how well Fnatic were doing, I felt like Fnatic and Origen were in the same boat coming into the tournament. Fnatic changed some things, especially in the pick and ban phase. Players were stepping up in the tournament. Origen didn't really change anything, and players were not stepping up. Again, individual mistakes, especially the top side of the map, looks so weak for Origen now with Source and Amazing. That's where suddenly Gamsu and Spirit from Fnatic, who looked fairly shaky coming into the tournament, they stepped up big time and played super well, and Fnatic did well. Didn't happen for Origen. I'm still looking at some of these individual players stepping up their performance before we can highlight anything new really with this team.
Yep, and they are up against the Unicorns of Love. They won that matchup back in week 2, I believe it was, OG versus Unicorns of Love. UOL now with Lulex in their ranks. What are we expecting out of this one? They have locked their playoff spot, so there is things to build, but they are playing for that seeding, obviously.
They're playing for seeding, but for now, for Origen, saving grace might be that Lulex's first set of games was quite messy. For the Unicorns of Love, there just seemed to be a couple of issues with shot calling on fights, and maybe that's the point that they can expose here.
We will see what happens in that matchup. I do believe that the players are ready, so let's kick it over to the casters and get into that game.
Thank you, Sharks. And joining me on the desk is Mitch Krepper-Vorspurs, and we're just moments away from picks and bans. Did I get your second name? Was it any closer? Close enough? All right, whatever. As we get into it, let's take a quick look at the starters. In the blue corner of the Rift, it is the Unicorns of Love. So it's going to be top lane Chachi, in the jungle, Lulex. Now in the mid lane is Fox, ADC, Steelback, support Hillisang, and coach Shibi.
Yeah, that's fantastic, Mr. Cam. Did I get it right?
Yeah, yeah, close enough.
On the red corner for Origen, obviously still in the top lane. Soas, jungle is amazing. Mid lane, Xpaco is back in there. AD carry, Sven, support Mithi, and coach still Bali.
So the return of the king, perhaps. Xpaco in the mid lane. We'll see how much he can do. Of course, Power of Evil feeling sick this week.
He still plays, in terms of synergy, usually if you don't scrim with the team anymore, you feel like you drop off. You're no longer on the same page. With Dynamic Q though, he very often subs in with at least some of the members when they play. If it goes well, they play a couple of games. If people troll a bit too much, they're like, after one game, most of the guys are like, you know what? I think that's enough for me for today.
Yeah.
But overall, I think he should still be okay because he's just such a flexible player in general. I don't think, he may have not practiced too much against the likes of a Quinn, but I feel he will always handle his own.
Yeah, I think we won't have too many problems in terms of own individual play. But I said that earlier when we were looking at like Pepe coming into the team, and it was actually like the imports who did really well on that team, and then the guy in the mid lane not so much. But
Pepe's
different scenario. Yeah, Pepe did pick Victor. So yeah, we'll see what Xpeke brings into the mid lane. Very similar names, but we're about to find out as we head into Champion Select. I wonder if that will change like pick and ban priorities for Unicorns of Love. I don't think this is like, oh, Peke has been playing this recently that we definitely need to ban out, but...
No, I don't think so. I don't think that the shift is there. If anything, Expected Play plays a little more champions than PoE. PoE seem to be very focused on one style only. So far, nothing really too dangerous yet. Lulu taken off the board here against Origen, which you have to do. They're a team that plays around their AD carries Ven. Obviously, if you have champions that can enable that, you want to take that away. Soas has had games on Quinn, I believe, before. And for Origen, it's pretty standard bans, you know. You don't want them to have Kalista, you don't want them to have Nidalee. You're going to start looking at securing the Gragas early, Alistair Braum. Those are the things in your head right now if you're Origen.
Looking towards that last ban from Unicorns of Love as well. Probably just going to be a couple more meta picks. Not sure if we're going to see too many target bans specifically or not. Pantheon being brought out against Soaz in the top lane. Pantheon has definitely risen to power in a couple of regions and has been terrorizing solo queue right now.
I mean, Huni played a lot. It's also a good pick, potentially mid lane into a Zed. So maybe Unicorns of Love wants to play that Zed. Fox is a Zed player overall. So you can just do early, do a lot of just damage and use that passive real well to block. It's a pure snowball champion though, taken off the board.
And the last ban from Origen, what's it going to be? Fiora into the top lane against Chachi. So not too much to add there, as we mentioned before in a previous game. 6-4 now, we're playing on that patch, and there are slight hits to Fiora, but not enough that really takes her out of contention, just knocks her down a peg or two. and just awaiting what Unicorns will pick up first. In the first 2 games today, we had Corki lock-ins first, but this time it's going to be Gragas.
Yeah, I could definitely see the value in a Corki pickup here, but overall, since Nidalee has been banned out, Gragas has risen to that high-tier jungle status overall. Generally gets answered by a Lee Sin, but then the play has to be made by Amazing, and it's a very much so easier play pattern on the shoulders of Lulex here. So I like it for Unicorns. I think it's a good champion for Lulex to play overall. Need to see if Origen will lock to early Corki. I would like here maybe like a Corki Braum as a reaction. I think that would be a really good reactionary draft play.
Well, we've criticized Origen a lot for their game plans and maybe the compositions need to change from here. Do you think they should just carry on doing the same sort of thing? Like Corki Braum would, as you said, be a solid pickup. Do they need to change their pick and balance, or is it just like the in-game that...
I think it's more resource distribution and people just respecting boundaries. So as sometimes overextends and gets caught out. Doesn't matter what pick you have. But also in the early game, they need to make sure that they solidify Soaz in the early game. Get him some ganks, get him some visions. Because Ven and Miffy can play from behind.
Yeah.
And they can play even in lanes, but there's just so much farm going towards Ven that Soaz ends up starved, and he has clearly shown that he cannot play from behind very well.
Well, you spoke about an AD carry and support being picked up. That's what we got, but Lucian goes into the AD carry role rather than mid lane Corki, and Trundle picked up instead of Braum. Could flex to the top lane as we've seen China do, but no one really from Europe has done a whole lot of
I
it
mean,
yet.
we did see top lane Trundle at IEM do well in some matchups, and with some of these picks taken out off the board, Trundle lane's fine into Nautilus, so I think it's a solid flex pick overall. It doesn't lose any matchup hard, it doesn't win any matchup super hard either. I'm a big fan of Trundle top. I think it's better than support.
Yeah, very strong at dueling, pushes towers incredibly quickly. Alistar has been picked up for Unicorns of Love, still just a fantastic support right now. Nautilus as well for the top lane, just sung his praises so much. Nautilus is a great tank in the top lane, wins out a lot of melee matchups, and that'll be locked in. Also a flex.
Yeah, if Origen... they're gonna have to reveal one of the lanes here, I feel, so will have to counter pick in mid lane unless they have a triple flex option. Unicorns of Love also will get them counter picked once, but the body that Unicorns have built right now is very sturdy, robust, tanky. Gragas, Nautilus, Alistar, which leaves their 2 solo carries with a need for very high damage output. Need to see if Steelback and Fox can carry that.
Waiting on those pickups from Origen. It's gonna be 2 seconds remaining.
Fill some time. Speak slowly.
Poppy and Lee Sin. There we go.
Yeah.
Nailed it, team.
Oh, you predicted that one.
Yep. Right on the money.
As expected, you know, when Gragas gets locked in, people don't really seem to fancy Elise that much anymore, so they go for the Lee Sin. You need to make some plays. It's hard, though, to get a play on a Nautilus, an Alistar, or a Gragas, so you're gonna need to snipe either Fox or Steelback in this match if your name is amazing. Overall, we see the Poppy top lane. That means Trundle is locked for support, and as expected, Expeke in his first match back on the stage here gets the counter pick on mid lane, and in my opinion, Expeke is a way better player overall than Fox and has a way higher ceiling. So if Expeke is someone into form, they could really see that power pick, the counter pick rather, be used to maybe snowball an advantage for Origen.
Well, that was absolutely the key if Expeke is on form, and he's definitely been playing recently, as you mentioned, been playing Dynamic Q with the team, but we'll see if he's as up to date as Power of Evil. And looking towards these last 2 pickups coming in from the Unicorns of Love. Could have a safe pick in the mid lane. And Gangplank gets swapped over to. And Gangplank has been gutted in this last pack on 6-4.
It just feels so slow what the Unicorns of Love have picked up right now. Such a scaling composition with Ezreal. No damage early. Yes, he has a later. Yeah, sure, they have a good early to mid game top 3 part where they picked, you know, Alistar, Gragas, Nautilus, because they can rely on those base damage. And then, yes, you could scale, but I'd rather see some aggressive high damage burst lanes early and just snowball the advantage, because I feel those picks kind of fall off later in the game. That's why they tried to modify that by picking Ezreal late game, but I feel there's a bit of a mismatch. I feel if Origen have a solid start to the game, they could just snowball it entirely.
So my question is going to be, what does Expeke pick here? So he has the counter pick, and he's up against the Gangplank. He knows that for sure now. So can he do something to abuse it hard in the mid lane? Yeah,
almost any strong laner wins it. You know, you could look at a LeBlanc, at a Corki, just anything with push power. You don't even need to beat the Gangplank. You can just push him in and roam, and then see if you can snowball. Because bot lane will lose the pressure too. Ezreal with Alistar is a super passive lane. It will get pushed in by nearly anything. Even Lucian Trundle will win that push. So unless Unicorns of Love get like a lane swap off, a good lane swap to slow down the game, I think Origen can actually snowball just purely off the lane pressure too. Because if you look at top 2v2, Poppy Lee Sin have enough damage to put a Nautilus into the wall. He is relatively squishy early game.
Yeah, he doesn't really get tanky until he's got a couple items under his belt. Meanwhile, Gragas Likewise, in the 2v2, should go to Poppy and Lee Sin. Mid lane, Corki has that pushing power, so he can push in, roam with the package, or he can just kill the gangplank as well in the mid lane.
And more importantly, Luex has a very hard time ganking in standard lanes. Like, where is he gonna go? You're not gonna gank a Corki when Gangplank is your assistance, because the Gangplank will telegraph the gank. Same way in the bottom. Ezreal, Alistar, the nature of that lane is so passive, so far backwards, that any change in movement patterns just gives away the gank. This leaves one lane to gank for Luex, which is the Nautilus and the Gragas combination. Soaz has fallen behind to this in the past, but if Origen can accurately read this in lane swap, in standard lanes rather, they have prime position to snowball the map because Lee Sin can pretty much gank everywhere.
Do you think that Unicorns of Love should look for a heavy lane swap here to try and get that in the early game? Yeah. And try and get that early pressure. We'll see in the first couple of minutes as we get into this one whether Unicorns can make that happen, because you're right, Origen can absolutely abuse and exploit them in the early game in those standard lanes. Interesting compositions coming out here from both teams, specifically Unicorns of Love. You can see them there on your screen right now. So if you think that this is going to work out for the Unicorns of Love with their composition, jump on Twitter, use the hashtag UOLWin or use the hashtag OGWin. We're going to be finding out whether this one will work out as we get into the game very shortly onto Summoner's Rift. Origen versus Unicorns of Love. Very important game for both these teams ahead of playoffs.
Yeah, I agree.
Thanks for that one, Crepo. So we're going to see...
It's a little early to start talking about gangsters. We can do that later.
Yeah.
Now we still have gameplay. Let's hope this one produces a little more action. I want to see standard lanes, because while I do enjoy a fine lane swap played out to a T, it has become slightly predictable. Exquisitely. I'd rather see some guys just whacking away and trying to murder each other, personally.
30 seconds until
well, let's see some guys... I'm not going to finish that sentence. All right, so Lulex pushing in here. And thinking about moving in, so trying to get some deep wards, trying to get some information on OG. So far sending Hylissang and Steel back to the bottom lane.
Yeah, no deep wards. Generally that means if you... What we saw earlier today is no deep wards, then the team obviously that wanted the lane swap, I think was it Giants into Fnatic? Yeah, they won, so they just went blind top, Fnatic matched. Both teams here trying to reverse mind game.
Yeah.
Or just actually don't do anything, and maybe the Unicorns feel comfortable in this matchup, you know, in standard lanes. Maybe I'm just completely wrong.
Let's go with the double mind game here, Crepo.
Double mind
game. Say that you were right.
I like that one.
Okay, let's move topics to Keystones. I don't think anything really different here. Nope.
Looking
up and down the line.
Junglers, sustain. Thunderlords. It's kind of sad. It's kind of interesting to see the evolution of them. 10 Thunderlords. We went down to 1.
Yeah. Not Thunderlords. Grasp of the Undying going on to Miffy though. That is something that's more different. Sometimes you see Bond of Stone or Grasp of the Undying on Trundle. So that's the only different one there.
Yeah. Sustain in the lane for harass overall, and obviously he doesn't need Bond of Stone because there's no clear assassins coming out. Nobody's going to be hitting Zen. Early trading here, pretty strong from Fox, really making use of that corrupting potion. Speke wants to do the same though. It's a sustain lane where eventually the push is always in control of Xpeke, especially later on.
So, early pressure from Fox trying to make it happen, but level 2 gets popped by Peke, so...
Because you can trade Q for Q, but later on, those barrels will never pop. Midi here forces the combo, or the early pulverize with that level 2 power spike in the lane. And look, this is what we expected. Push in top, push in bot. Peke can push whenever he wants, and he will get more trading tools as Fox's barrels will just get destroyed. And whenever Peke starts trading, he can then turn on his E. Right now, I assume he'll have skilled Valkyrie. Just safely, yeah. Yep. He's respecting the E flash level 3 gank from Gragas. That is the only timing window in which Xpeke can die. He rightfully respects it, doesn't go for the pure lane win with the Gatling gun overall. And that's what Origen is doing right now, as we expected. Triple lane push, which completely shuts down Lulex. Where is he gonna go? Any of his ganks will be incredibly telegraphed.
Just don't bleed out in the lanes, and Lulex will find it incredibly difficult to become relevant, at least in the early game, as you head into mid-game. Hopefully Origen can start the snowball rolling in these standard lanes that they did manage to get. Miffy going up here, and he's actually just gonna one-man stop this Gragas from taking red.
Yeah, the casual predict on the path. Guess what? Gragas started topside. Really? It's not like he does that every game. Guess what he's gonna do? At about 310, he'll be still doing his red buff if he does the greedy camp clear, where he doesn't skip a single camp to go for red buff. Well, we're pushing. Let's walk into the jungle. Amazing joints. And Origen with a good read on the game. You could argue that Luex could have maybe skipped the camp to go for a quicker red buff, because this is an expected play pattern, the counter jungle invade. And right now, Origen have control. Unicorns are on the back foot.
Amazing is camping out. It's like, Lulex, come to the bottom lane. Go back to that red buff. I know you want to, but Lulex's like, nah, I'm just going Gromp, mate.
Reverse mind game.
Yeah.
This is where Amazing's like, he has to start this buff. Guys, he has to. I don't want to start it. I don't want to die here. Should I start it?
He's still waiting.
I feel like he's waiting for Godot at this point.
Yeah.
Somebody should tell Amazing to maybe read that book or that play. Tell him he never shows up.
Hey,
Spoilers.
He doesn't go buff. He actually goes into the mid lane. Gonna try and make a gank happen onto Fox. I mean, Fox is full health. And he's
Yeah,
gangplank.
Fox
And he's
knows.
playing to the top side of the lane.
Alright, double mind game, boys.
Amazing hasn't hit anything for like a minute now. He doesn't have ultimate, but he gets the slowdown. The exhaust in the middle lane onto Fox, follows up with Fast Bomb. Another auto attack on the backside of Fox as he backs off to the tower. So Amazing is now behind in levels against Lulex, who has just casually gone through his jungle and just taken camps.
Ooh, Lulex could actually go for the counter jungle here on Raptors, but he opts out to just go for the safe Scuttle Crab. He could have put some pressure, but again, because the lanes are pushing towards his team, he can't even punish a jungler that he knows is underleveled on the Raptors. This is how hard lane pushes interact with where the jungle goes. Soaz right now, he's comfortable too. He will even out that CS by picking up that wave. And Origen have a solid start to the game, and that's what they need, because historically, their strength hasn't been in Snowball in the early game. It has been rather timid early to mid games, and then the explosion, say 25-30 minutes in, when they play around Sven in these team fights.
Well, we don't have the explosive snowball just yet, but they have the platform for it, potentially. Bot lane, I mean, it's Trundle right here, so maybe more defensive. Looking to just put a bit of a chomp onto Hillside, but not going for the all-in just yet. Lots of disengagement on Hillside.
You can't. Like, this lane, you will never kill. This is a farm fest. Ezreal can safely farm from afar. He's only limited by his mana. And then if you take a bad trade to keep for a CS, Alistar will just heal you up. Hillside has 1 point to heal alone, because obviously there won't be much trading. Melee support versus melee support generally requires an all-in. And in a meta game that is infested with teleports, all-ins have been pretty much removed from the game in bot lane.
And back to the mid lane. So Fox did have a slight advantage in the first couple seconds of the lane until level 2 got picked up by Peke. And then Amazing came in for the gank, so Peke now has a slight CS lead. Now he's going for blue buff as well, should be easily able to get this one up. And Fox is just slightly lagging behind on farm, but he's got a big wave there.
Yeah, it's good actually for the Unicorns to go even on farm here. Usually they're expected to be slightly behind. The punish window for Origen hasn't hit yet though. The window where they really want to drive home that advantage that they have is in the mid game. So if Unicorns can keep the game even until like 25-30, that's when we see these damage spikes come out of the Ezreal and Gangplank in the mid lane.
And Amazing is back into the jungle of Lulex, places down the ward.
Maybe he just likes that brush.
Maybe, yeah, he just likes spending time there. It's his happy place.
When everything's going bad, when you're struggling, when you're a former world champion semi-finalist and things just are rough, you just need a little happy place.
Yeah, and that's the red camp bush. Find your happy place.
Therapeutic.
It is, yeah. So whenever something's going badly, your top lane's feeding for some reason in solo queue, just find your happy place.
My teammates usually prefer the fountain.
Yeah.
That's their happy place.
I also find my teammates find a happy place under the enemy turret for some reason. Once again, Amazing is going to go into the jungle. 80% on the win for Origen with Peke coming in here. Unicorns of Love, 20%. Definitely have been slowing down significantly since the start of the split. We were praising them so much about the macro play and how this is the first time we've really seen them have any macro play. And Unicorns of Love with like Steelback and Fox actually did really well coming in. And like the backbone of the team, Hillsang and Chachi, have just been exceptionally good. But the last couple of weeks have been definitely rough for the Unicorns, dropping gains against even the likes of Rocket.
Yeah, definitely struggling recently. Lulex also struggling to find the enemy blue buff. His buff is taken away. Amazing's down on the top side. Unicorns are completely aware of this, because this is why Lulex is pathing into the other side of the map. So as a team, UOL knows that they can get Dover in the top lane. The thing is, can they do anything about it? Vizicachi is desperately trying to keep that wave under his tower because he knows at any given moment something could come in. The reaction would be Gangplank ulti and TP, but Fox is like, no, you know what? I'm going to TP mid lane. Screw you. You're on your own.
Well, Chachi actually gets out of there. As you said, he was trying to push the minion wave away, and it's too slow for them to really make the dive happen because they just can't straight up dive him. Maybe they could have swung it with Soaz tanking, but Amazing will back away. So we spent a lot of time looking for these ganks. Now the package is live. And it is on Peke, so he's flying into the mid lane, engaged in the bottom lane though, knocks Sven into Steelback and the tower. Miffy's going to try and body block for him. Good flash over the wall, but I think he's still training off the Steelback and will go down. Miffy is hailing in with the auto attacks just to try and pick up a return kill, but that's a 2-0 and a double for Steel.
Oh, expect him roaming to the bot lane with package to make a play, but Fox beats him to the punch. But this goes back to what we were talking about earlier. When Amazing is lurking in another happy place that he found now in the top lane for over 30 seconds trying to gank Vizicachi. Obviously, Luex is on the bottom side. You know what he did? He placed 2 deep wards to solidify the vision. He knows he's alone. He then passed to the bottom lane to go for a gank, while Sven and Miffy are pushing on the weak side of the map. This is a mistake. You cannot play in Alistar Q flash range on your weak side when you play against a global like Gangplank ulti when Gragas is collapsing. Fantastic punish by the Unicorns, but we have to question what were OG doing at that point.
Well, OG are looking to set up a top lane gang Pepe. Actually, the package ran out just before he jumped in, and Soaz may die for it. One more tower shot, and that's actually a 1-for-1 with 2 assists for OG.
Yeah, good read here by Vizicachi. Yet again, he knew the gank was coming. This time, he managed to play at the edge of tower range, pull Soaz in, and that package just timed out.
Just timed out, like a couple seconds.
Yeah, here, Luex lurking here, goes over the wall, Q flash in. Yeah, Sven and Miffy are playing over the aggression line. That's the problem here. You can't go past kind of the line that connects the wall. Hang on, Fox and Peke are fighting.
Oh, the 1v1 kill perhaps by Peke definitely shoves him back to his own tower, but won't be the kill today. But still, lots of pressure being exerted by Peke by himself. Amazing comes out, the ult, the Q.
Ooh, got him.
And already Fox throws out the flash. Well played.
Oh, I absolutely adore that play. Instead of going for like a 50-50 Q, maybe you force flash. What you do is you get close enough to kick flash, and while they're obviously in the air, they can't flash themselves unless you have a QSS.
Yep.
And then you connect the Q. And he even gets the panic flash out of Fox. I really like that adaptation there from Amazing.
That was really cool. I mean, from Fox's perspective, you're mashing flash, and as soon as you can, he does it, but the Q is already connected, so easy peasy. And at that moment, Fox knew he screwed up. Now underneath this tower, Amazing. Looking for something to happen. Bot lane though, it's a bit of aggression, but there's so much disengage from an Alistar or even the Trundle. You never really get a 2v2 kill.
Yeah, Alistar with exhaust and ulti available, and the fact that he can soak up a lot of the damage from the Cullen there with Steelback being able to shift out passively. That's why this lane will never result in kills, and that's also why this lane is very nothing happening kind of deal, because you can poke them down, but every time you're poking, you're essentially setting yourself up to get flashed on. And that obviously sometimes it only needs to result in a gank 1 in the 5 times, and you still get punished harder than the value you get in total from poking down that lane. That's why we see them go 50-50, farm split, nothing happening, because you don't want to be that guy that gets his pulverized flashed on like Sven was earlier.
Yeah, Sven, a little bit of struggling going on here. Origen have definitely suffered, not only throughout the split, but definitely over the last couple of weeks. We saw so much progression from other teams who went to IEM, like Fnatic, but Origen just didn't really show anything new or better. They just kind of showed all the same mistakes that they had over the last previous weeks, and they're still showing themselves today as well.
Wow, and the build that Soaz is going here, early Negative Cloak, so he's not going for the conventional Sunfire into Iceborne Gauntlet, not Frozen Fist.
Frozen Fist.
We went into the origins of Frozen Fist in the Challenger cast already. Yeah. But yeah, so he's shifting up his build here because he's falling slightly behind. OG, normally they're looking to hit at least some spikes here, combined with that 5-4 that they can then push home, but they made some mistakes in the early game that slowed them down. They do finally get that tower. That's also something you can reap the benefits of when you push all 3 lanes at once. You will hit that tower a little bit, chip away at it every single time, and eventually it will culminate into a small goal advantage.
So Raptor Cloak alert onto Soaz. And I like this because Soaz, a lot of his problems have come to him being by himself in the side lane and getting called out. Now he's going to spawn some buddies with him.
Build your
own friends. Never be alone. Build your own friends.
It seems like Origen have gone through a therapeutic session. So instead of a life coach, they got probably a psychologist that analyze deep problems. Like, Amazing, he's got his happy space. Soaz has his friends. We have Expected back for the moral leadership support.
Exactly. Okay, so Origen have made adaptations coming out of the last couple of weeks, and we'll have to see if it pays off in this game, but so far I like the theory at least.
Solid theory.
Man. And not even like imaginary friends either, they will make some tangible effect on this game.
They're very temporary.
Yes, that is true, but there'll always be another one. So, Bot lane is being pushed out by Origen, just waiting underneath this turret real quick.
There are teleports about.
From both top laners and Fox if he needs it. Hylissang, kind of a late ultimate. Amazing coming down to maybe close down the noose. Sven gets exhausted. There's a heal for the movement speed, and that is just quite enough to keep him out of range. Lulex gets caught out. Q follow from Amazing. There's the ultimate for the disengage, but Peke should still be able to follow up here. Does have the flash. Not sure if he wants to use it right now, as Lulex has his own flash, so he'd just be exchanging flashes.
Yeah, no news for the Moose over there. Overall, yeah, Hylissang with the late ulti. That's kind of the tough spot you're in if you're an Alistar. You don't want to waste it early, because then they'll just let you walk.
Right.
But you don't want to be too late and that guy that dies to ignite, because obviously true damage still burns through your ultimate. But again, Origen, they don't even need to gank. They can just show up, use the trading advantage. They played around that gank attack from Luix beautifully, because you can't afford to go around tower. He realized it too late, and it left Hylissang exposed in an aggressive position, just like Sven was exposed in aggressive position earlier. Right now, you see no junglers nearby, so it's a little slow duel in the top lane. Origen, they're finally finding some weaknesses in the Unicorns of Left's playstyle, and if you see that already, with those failures in mind, with those little screw-ups, Origen still is 2 towers ahead and 1.7k gold. You can only imagine if they played their early game a little more crisp, what a gold lead they would have amassed with these standard lanes, with these compositions.
And the bottom lane tower now going down will give Origen a slight gold advantage. Plus Sven was able to get that extra minion wave. And we joke about just one more wave, but with Lucian it's a lot easier to do. You just pop the culling and then go back to basic business very, very quickly. Now going for the Essence Reaver towards the next item as well. Most likely going to be Static Shiv, or could go for the Rapid Fire Cannon, we'll see as he starts building up those items. Mid lane hitting those spikes as well. The Trinity Force is now picked up by both mid laners. Fox tried to use his ult down mid lane, but that's why it's on cooldown.
Yeah, and you see Vizichachi, he can't afford to teleport up. He could have went here, TP'd, and held that tower for a little longer, but Unicorns of Love have accepted the reality. They will lose all their 3 towers, and they really want that flying TP from Vizichachi for the inevitable fight that will break loose over an objective.
So as he's still pushing. We'll see if he can actually get this tower though, because Peke's coming up. There's a keeper's further.
Really? No. Synergy. I disagree.
That was... Yeah, definitely not reading from the same page there. Sven and Miffy just in the bot side here. They'll take the tower at least. That's all Soaz wants. He wanted the tower, Peke wanted the kill, and I think they probably could have gotten it.
I mean, ulting for the tower is a fine play, but then Peke can just hold onto his package for a little while.
Yeah. Michael Jackson move, perhaps. I don't know. But Miffy with Amazing and Sven. See if they can catch up Fox. I think he's good. He's got the speed shrine as well from the grab.
He is zoned from the mid lane here, though. He's zoned into the river with an aggressive move from mid D. This leaves the mid tier 2 exposed. Xpeke is now in a side lane putting pressure too. While Unicorns of Love are looking to equalize towers, they may have just lost themselves a tier 2 in the mid lane.
There's no one to defend. Fox, there's the ultimate, but didn't help out last time. Oh, I think he has Death Daughters now. Oh, good stop on the recall from Soaz going into the bottom lane. Steelback really can't duel him. Got the speed up. Hylissang can't headbutt just yet. Q flash jumps in. Got the teleport coming out from Nautilus. Will pop the ultimate. Soaz is tanky, and he doesn't have a ZZ rod, so he doesn't have any friends with him. Oh, actually makes it out. The heroic charge and the flash, but Steelback will use his own flash and make sure he goes down. Do have Amazing coming in from behind along with Miffy. I don't think we're going to have anyone closing in. Oh, actually, hold that thought, because Peke's coming in from the top side. Looks like Unicorns may be closed in, but they're trying to fight them out from the inside. Miffy's dropping low. Steelback trying to put the damage. He's low on mana. Sven is putting out the ultimate. Amazing is coming in from the side. Lulex will respond, and now the cavalry has arrived from the Unicorns of Love. Peke caught out into the bottom side, and the trap has been pushed back out by the Unicorns of Love. Hylissang won't even go down. 3 for 1. The Unicorns come up big.
Yeah, this is exactly why Vizichachi didn't want to teleport to that top lane tower. He wanted to keep that TP to make a play, a reactionary play to Origins, who just have been so disjointed overall. This is fantastic. Stopping Steelback. The poke here, Soaz just ended here. Walk away. You're going in blind yet again in the lane when you don't need to. Corki is in base right now. They're playing him at 4v5 and they're still winning if Soaz backs out here, but he goes for the ultra greedy play. He dies. Sadly, at the very end by the flash from Steelback. Now Origen's looking in here for the collapse, but Steelback, Vizichachi, and Hylissang say, like, I'm not trapped here with you. You guys are trapped here with us because we're getting backup coming from the lane, and it's just such a disjointed team fight. Origen should never lose this fight this hard, and very well executed though from the Unicorns. They seem to be in solid communication here. Good target prioritization, really good turn here. Eventually Fox comes in, look at that barrel from Lulex, sets it up perfectly for the barrels from Fox, and Unicorns working as a team, saving teleports to help each other. Origen, yeah, not a team anymore.
Well, yeah, I mean, the call was crisp. It was like, go down, fight your way out with the two people trying to collapse on you while the cavalry arrives coming in from Lulex and Fox, and then they met them halfway, and then they actually have a fight where they're not outnumbered anymore. So Unicorns are definitely having the clarity in these team fights, way better against Origen here, but you can't discount the misplays that have been made by Origen as well, kind of allowing Unicorns of Love these opportunities.
Steal back though, he does it every game. Not every game, he does a lot of the games.
Yeah.
He cleans up somehow 3-1 and 2 on this Ezreal pick. Blue has getting some CDR here. He's gonna start dealing considerable amounts of damage in about like 4 minutes, 5 minutes, and Unicorns, they held on beautifully with this composition. It is so hard to play this against a good team, a decent team. Like playing 3 losing lanes while your jungle is being shut down into a Lee Sin, it is incredibly hard to hang out, and it requires really good usage of Cannon Barrage, even 3-shot Barrage, a lot of barrages apparently.
Many barrages.
Any more teleports? No.
No.
I think that's it.
Barrel barrage.
Unbreakable Barrage.
Unbreakable barrage. Depth charge barrage. And Chachi is going to take out the ZZ Rock portal, cut off the supply of friends for Soaz. And we criticized them in Champions League, that being from Unicorns of Love, because it was like, yeah, this is a difficult composition to run. We'll see if they can actually do it, because they have, with the last rotation, 2 scaling picks. Can they make it work? They did, so props.
I want to see if Steelback and Fox can work together here to find a pick on a single target, make it a barrage à trois.
Yeah. I'll take it, I'll take it. Lulax taking out this ward. Miffy pushing up as well. So lots of posturing around this Baron area, just starting to set up some wards now that it's spawned. Peke is just pushing up a side lane as well. Often Peke has been in side lanes just soaking up farm in this game.
Yeah, oh, that's also, I think, historically one era where Peke was really good at the game. He was one of the first mid laners to truly understand the value of split push. Early season 3 with Zed completely dismantled us even a lot of times when we didn't understand, like, why is their mid laner bot? He's called mid laner, he's not supposed to be here. But he was a really good player when it came to side lane pressure, chipping away at towers, putting a little bit of vision and then working with it. But his team also played around that, you know, Peke pushes, he backs out. Right now it's Soaz goes in, he doesn't back out. Suddenly the plan fails. And that is kind of the difference here. Origen by no means are out of this game though. They've made some mistakes, but they still have a solid mid-game composition. All it takes is one flank from Amazing, break open the game, get a Baron, and the game could be over in like 4 minutes.
For sure. It is still possible. Peke has the package as well. So we'll see if he can make a play with it, and so as to not knock his quarry away this time. ZZ Rot is almost up from Soaz, so we'll be placing that down in the side lane as well, and have this kind of 1-3-1 setup with Peke in another side lane.
Yeah, you say it right there, 1-3-1, because they don't want the team fight. Unicorns of Love have built themselves an exquisite team fight composition overall. Obviously, Origen's goal was 3 pushing lanes early and then skirmish. That is a 1-3-1 composition later in the game. That is why Soaz likely opted in for this ZZ Rock portal push too. And it is incredibly hard for Unicorns to find a team fight. They will need to make use of Cannon Barrage to slow the backline down and then maybe flank with Vizichaki to teleport. So a really good stylistic mismatch here. Let's see which team can pull it off.
Lulax was stopped with his body slam with a nice pillar coming out from Miffy, but it would just result in a bit of damage. Gragas is fairly tanky at this stage in the game. Starts itemizing towards those tanky stats.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Corki is part magic damage, but looking for an early Frozen Heart here, maybe downing. We finish that into the random. It's likely going to be Frozen Heart, because otherwise I don't know what he will do with the Glacial.
Iceborne Gauntlet.
Maybe.
Q-Flash doesn't quite land from Hillisang, but it's probably enough pressure regardless. Lulax coming out of the ultimate True Shot Barrage doesn't land. Sven preemptively pops the heal just in case. Amazing coming in from the side, kicks Chachi. Doesn't bowling ball him into any of the squishies though, and Amazing with a clap off to the side. Amazing actually goes down very early onto this fight, and the re-engage under the tower from Hillisang is enough to pick up another kill. 2-0 over to the Unicorns of Love, and Origen collapse in the mid lane.
Yeah, Origen are playing a 1-3-1 composition, and they're opting for team fights with non-team fight builds into an incredibly tanky front line. Even though, despite Hillisang missing that Q-Flash, they still lose that fight super hard. Unicorns, they're playing to their strengths, which is team fighting with this composition. Origen, they're buying into it. They're not realizing what their play is, and they're paying the price for it.
5-1-2. Talk about Steelback picking up those random kills in team fights. There's the Q-Flash that we didn't see land.
But at this very moment, the fish was tilting, and so am I, because Lulex, you should not go for that auto attack after body slam. Every single Gragas player is going for E-Flash into either a Q or auto into an ultimate. It leaves you one frame where a flash spamming AD carry can then flash out. All you gotta do is E-Flash R. What you gotta do, cast too much with Demon. All you gotta do, mate, is E-Flash R.
It's not even how we talk, but yeah. So that is the goal. I actually wonder like what the opportunity is, like how many frames it is down to the second, but
yeah,
for sure.
You just walk up and down smash.
Yeah.
Barrel, right?
Man, I don't want to get flamed by community again, Crepo. What I wanted to do was shout out, man. Feels bad. Bible Thump, etc. Origen now heading down the river, still securing that vision around Baron. Oh, Hillsang maybe caught out. He is still Alistair and does have his ultimate. Just depends when he wants to use it. Now, holds it. And he didn't have it, so that's why he held it. Two-shot barrage coming across onto Origen. Didn't quite land through the goalposts. Chachi. This is a Northless trying to kill ZZ Rock. Doesn't really happen very quickly. Sven now in a side lane actually soaking up farm, so putting Peke back into the mid lane for wave clear.
Yeah, wave clear in mid lane. We need Origen to keep splitting up and putting pressure on the towers, even though it looks really rough for them, because if they opt into a team fight at this point, with Ezreal and GP online, snowballed with extra kills, and the front line not being punished at all, still being tanky, it will be an inevitable demise here, barring any major pick-off. So Origen need to stick to the 1v1.
And Peke back in that middle lane. No one has reacted from the Unicorns of Love to stop Sven, and he's just playing this a little bit cautiously as Miffy comes in as well. Hillsang almost connecting the dredge line. If it does land, there's not that much follow-up. Lulux was on the way, but maybe could keep him in place. Either way, he managed to swap it up in top lane.
Yeah, and usually what you do with the 1-3-1 is you put so much pressure that eventually somebody crumbles and has to teleport to react, maybe use a global, and then you do that again, and eventually when everything's on cooldown, you can strike away at these towers. But because Unicorns did such a fantastic job at keeping the game equal, they constantly have at least one teleport available, in addition to one global, whether it's the two-shot barrage, the cannon barrage. So it's so hard for a single member on a side lane to really push and punish.
A lot of damage onto Hillsang. I mean, Origen respect the fact that Hillsang can pop ult and the team is there for a team fight, which Origen have in this game gone for, not gone too well.
Yeah, a little confusion though. You saw Sven path to the mid lane. He's now taking a safe path over again, so they're not pushing up because they're limited by their vision. Some of these side lane pressure guys don't carry any pink wards or don't carry any blue, yellow trinkets rather, so they're struggling with vision. But right now, we see this strategy come to fruition. Origen have identified their strengths, poke in the mid lane, slow push in the top lane, and they find a tier 2 tower.
So as now teleporting.
Oh boy.
Baron. Okay. Let's see how this one will work out. Crepo, two-shot barrage. Now they know that their ultimate coming in from Fox, and that was immediately sniffed out by Unicorns of Love.
Right after finding their win condition, they find a loose condition, going for the Baron, 5-man stacked up, double global comes out, Vizichachi still at teleport, but more importantly, he is now putting pressure on the bottom lane. He's getting free push there, so a little greedy call. I get it, because the payoff is really big, and you don't lose the entire map from failing that play, but you lose a lot of momentum, and you allow the Unicorns to group, because no longer are any of your side lanes pushing. Suddenly, this gives a window of opportunity for Unicorns to group, maybe even rotate towards the Dragon.
Okay, just putting damage onto Steelback, kind of the war of attrition, the artillery throwing skill shots left and right in the mid lane, trying to poke each other down. Now in the bottom lane, 5-1 and 2, Steelback just picking up kills and kills and kills and farm. Is sitting on 3 items currently. Blade, Ruin King, Iceborne Gauntlet, and Mirror Mana.
Yeah, and just to touch on the builds a little bit more, you see Mithy early frozen hard here, because the main damage dealers are Steelback and Fox on the Gangplank Ezreal combination. But it even highlights how weak this Poppy build is, because ZZ Rock is a fantastic item when it comes to magic resistance, 60 MR. But at this point, all you have your MR for is base damages of Vizichachi, of Lulux. So it's a super inefficient item when it comes to teamfighting. That is why Soaz, it's paramount for him to keep splitting on a side lane.
As a fast dragon picked up by Origen, second of the game, so that ball is still rolling if they do get into the super late game. But these haven't been necessarily fast dragons. 28 minutes in and we only have 2.
Yeah, that would be in a 44 minute, 30 seconds
Yes.
with dragon. Do you enjoy casting it so much that you hope for long games, Pulse?
No.
Right.
Nothing can tell me. He wanted me to say yes, but all I wanted was to shut him down. Yeah, maybe you should go to the same therapy sessions that Origen is going on after that.
Guys, I need a happy place right now. Does anybody have a brush on hand?
Imaginary friends, perhaps. We'll see. but the ZZ portal hasn't been doing a whole for Soaz so far in this game.
It has to be awkward for somebody that just tuned into the cast. It's like, what does he say, man? Holy savage!
War friends here on the caster desk mostly.
That's what we tell you guys anyways.
Yeah. As soon as the camera's off. Yeah, it's all fights, but Unicorns of Love, they're gearing up for a fight in this game against Origen. That's all they want in this game. And Origen have been kind of handing it to them on the silver platter a lot of the time. Just saying, hey, you want to fight? Let's go in the mid lane. Oh, we lost? That's unfortunate with our 1-3-1 setup.
Yeah, and it's still even. But obviously the better late game composition here. Gangplank in the late game has less barrels, but he can still make them count. All it needs is like 2 barrels to proc in the fight, and suddenly all your hopes for surpassing Fnatic, perhaps going for that 4th place, are gone. And this is also a match that the Unicorns have to win though, because they're still in 4th place and they're looking at Fnatic right behind them, maybe even tied. I don't know exactly what the difference was, but Fnatic is gunning for that 4th place spot, maybe the 3rd place spot overall. And Unicorns, they've been kind of sloping downwards, haven't really found that synergy with the team and with Lulex lately. The macro has been lacking, so they definitely need a pick-me-up. And that could be this win, the expected win against Origen.
I mean, talking about Origen, like if they win this game, they lock playoffs, just straight up. That also locks Element and Splice out of playoffs.
But there's a lot has to happen for Element and Splice to get into playoffs. So it's almost guaranteed that Origen will win at least one game.
It could be this one though. They could just they could stop it now and be in a happy place. Hillasang, he's looking for a flank. He's sitting on a pink ward, so he knows he's not seen out. It's just a random pink in the mid lane.
Yeah, Sven revealed as late as he could on that wave crashing in the top lane. No vision for him, so he'd have to go by. Look, the wave is gone. This is good. Origen are managing to wave clear. And Unicorns can't step in to block the wave clear overall, so this is another 30 seconds bot. And look at the reaction. Origen know that the next mid wave is so far out. Amazing's even aggressively going to stop it. They are mindful of a rotation bot lane, but if Unicorns commit to the tier 2 bot, then Sven is ready to strike. And this is the power of split push, you know. Going a little bit dangerous into Fog of War, but you have to make that move. And Origen are no longer buying into these team fights from the Unicorns. Sadly for them, they had to learn the hard way, which is with 2 team fights.
Yes, there's a harsh lesson, but we'll see if they have learned now. Hillasang just on warding clearing mission, so is Amazing. And, just a whole lot of vision game going on right now, looking for a pick, looking for an anchor, looking for a death charge onto Peke. And Death's Daughter lands onto Peke, he'll immediately flash out. Maybe that was a little preemptive. We're going to have a team fight down mid lane. Soaz is already in the thick of the action, taking so much damage. Hillasang Q flash onto Miffy. The rest of the team there, the front line is so damn tanky though. Lulex comes in with the ultimate, and Hillasang is dropping low himself. Amazing lands the Q onto him, but doesn't really want to be going in here. ZZ Rock plays down in the middle of the fight, push all of the buttons. And Unicorns of Love on retreat very quickly. Sven taking a bit of damage on the front lines. Amazing off to the side, looking for a Q to happen. Clears out these minions.
Oh, so bold though. If Vizichachi lands any of those 3 Qs that he threw out, the fight would be convincingly lost from Origen. And this again tells the same story. Origen could have disengaged. We could have saw a TP cancel from Soaz and they could have walked away from the fight. But their crisp in the split-second decision-making shot calling hasn't been there, and they opt for another fight. The Unicorns narrowly win by 1 kill for none, but it just shows you the power of these late-game teamfights, because this tanky frontline can survive for ages. Yeah. All Fox and Steelback have to do is to avoid the kick flash from Amazing, and they did.
We're going to see it once more. Look at this very early flash from Peke as well.
A Cannon Barrage forces the flash here because he doesn't want to get engaged on. Then Soaz goes into the fight, and he gets stuck in the front line, has to flash out passively here. Hillasang going for Q flash. Soaz is isolated. Beautiful cast here. I'll have to commend Lulex for that one. But look at the damage, especially with exhaust. Hey, more fighting!
Miffy called out. This is less of a fight and more lambs to the slaughter. That's a Q landing from Steelback, and I think Miffy is good to go. Pop Subjugate, so he's getting a bit of healing coming out there. Sven chasing Lulex out of the jungle with his ultimate and clearing out those barrels from Fox.
Yeah, but the Unicorns are keeping OG trapped in the middle of the game here, in the middle of the lane, because there's no side lane pressure. Suddenly, Vizichachi sneaks up, gets himself a cheeky little turret. Origen trying to react with a push here.
Oh. A little bit obvious.
Ultimate but look behind though. Crouching Cow, hidden dragon.
And here he goes. Sven's there. Hillasang pops the ultimate. Soaz is already being chunked down by the front line. And Miffy is only now coming into this fight, but they get a quick kill onto Lulex. Hillasang's low and so is Fox. Sven tries to snipe him. Nice dodge out of the way. And Sven flashing off the mechanics there. Chachi will jump onto Sven, but there's no team to help him. Ultimate finally comes out from Fox. That will zone away Origen. They may even go towards this Baron now.
Damn, Origen with a convincing teamfight victory here. They bait Unicorns into overstepping. Too many cooldowns were used. There was no home guards on that teleport. Unicorns put their hand too deep in the cookie jar. Origen say, no, our cookies.
There was a mouse trap in there.
Yep.
Crucial Barrage drops them low. This is around 2,000 health now. Ultimate comes across and that just knocks Fox away. That leaves Steelback by himself. He'll be shut down, and Origen over the last 30 seconds to a minute have absolutely swung this game.
Just like that, 3,000 gold ahead all of a sudden. They have Baron, and guess what they're playing? They're playing a 1-3-1 split push composition that gets accelerated so much by that Baron, and it looks like they're heading to the third dragon of the game here for them too. So in the span of a minute 30 seconds, to back up one solid outplay, they take full control of this game.
Wow, a third dragon as well. Kind of unbelievable from Origen after so many missteps in the early and mid game, and even just utilizing their composition, they make such a perfect play here.
Yeah, the crowd was a little afraid to clap. We can clap pretty straight.
Yeah.
It's okay, even if the spotlight's on here. Yeah, here, Luex overcommits a little bit, and look at Beckett. Deals a lot of damage here, partly magic, because Luex is building pure armor here. Has finished the locket though, but Beckett shreds it away. And then, if Unicorns are on the back foot, Cannon Barrage is down, suddenly Sven can do these put his blue suede shoes on, start dancing around on the edges of this team fight, and he played that incredibly well.
Yeah, flourishing those mechanics there at the end of the team fight was very nice to see. And they just go on to Baron. TP coming out from Fox as well to try and contest True Shot Barrage. It looked kind of okay, trying to set up these barrels, but
it's kind of obvious where the third one's gonna go.
Yeah.
So that's the problem with Gangplank. If you put 1 and 2 in place, anybody that's played some Gangplanks or against some Gangplank will know where that third one goes.
Maybe they could have done it from behind the pit actually, set up the first and trying to go for a Steak Barrel instead, but yeah, it comes in from the front door in full vision of Origen, knew what he was looking for. Lulex, he's seen Miffy, places down a ward in front of him, but...
Wish there was some synergy between Gragas and Fox, so Lulex could do a barrel roll to give it.
And blow up the barrel, yeah, that would be sick. Unfortunately, Lulex was dead, so even in that fight, it wouldn't really help.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh look, that was the perfect chance for that synergy to happen.
Yep,
Unfortunately,
wasn't
it's not
quite there. Look at this, Origen, split pushing again to avoid getting caught. Flash is on Hylissang though, so he'll be looking to maybe Q-flash somebody, use minion taxi, W to a minion, then Q-flash. Origen, they have such safety here with their friends, with their minions. They're now stronger.
Look at this. Chachi's finding it so hard to clear out the ZZ rock. He got it eventually. Plus 25 gold in the bank. Meanwhile, bot lane's being shoved in. They took an inner turret, and bottom inhibitor tower is now down to about a third health. And Cannon Minion is just going to town. Mid lane just got pushed in by Peke and Amazing. And Chachi comes in for the engage. Maybe they can pick off Corki here in mid lane. The Manatee is going down. Chachi's looking for one more auto attack. He finds it. And Miffy's caught out on the backside as well. Chachi is still tanking up the front lines, and Amazing will also drop. This is now starting to collapse in from Origen. Great ultimate by Lulex. Pin Soaz against the wall. Flash and the Q from Hylissang. And Soaz will knock one aggressor away, but there's still 3 ready to take him out. Just needs a couple more basic attacks out from Steelback, and that will be another kill. 4 for 0.
Yeah.
Middle inhibitor tower goes down, and I believe bot tower did as well.
5,000 gold Baron power play though, but at what cost? Really sloppy play here from Origen. I'd like to see that again somehow, maybe we can see it later, because this is one of these late game pushes here, 28 seconds, so this, it's not a game-winning push. It will be an inhibitor ending push here. Origen, they were at the verge of really shutting down all these inhibitors, all these towers, but they overstepped. Amazing died with kick up. He tried to peel for Expected, but something went wrong.
Maybe Unicorns have enough
they
time.
may just go for it.
They're gonna try. 5 seconds on Amazing, 10 seconds on Peke, and 24 on Soaz. They're already going onto these towers. They've got a decent minion wave stack up. Miffy's there, trying to put the damage from Sven, but Hylissang preemptively pops the ultimate, starts zoning people away. This is maybe over-aggressive now by Unicorns. Chachi will go down, so will Hylissang, and the rest of the team is in full retreat. Amazing lands such a good Q onto Lulex, comes in with a ward jump, the kill. Peke, big crit onto Steelback. That's the 5-man ace, and that should be the win for Origen as he pushed down mid lane.
Oh my lord, these death timers, they are elusive, they are quite long, and overall, people expect to be able to end the Nexus off a single push, but Unicorns, they didn't even have to press tab because we moved the death timers to the bottom right of the screen, and yeah, just a little bit off on the math. I guess they saw Ever versus TSM and they fully expected that ending, but right now Origen casually strolling into the base. One Nexus tower goes down, then the second.
Maybe they did learn something from IAM, and all those therapy sessions did pay off in this game. Origen take the win up against Unicorns of Love here, clinching their playoff spot.
Now the question is, are you happy with this? Yes.
I think that's the answer.
I seem happy. Relieved is maybe a better word. Definitely not happy on the side of the Unicorns though. If you looked at the player cams right after, they knew they done goofed at that moment. One spawn, second spawn. Amazing went in for a beautiful stall here. Obviously goes in with the E, then kicks 2 people out. What an interesting ending to an interesting game.
Very true, but the return of the king perhaps, Xpeke there on your screen, stepping in for Power of Evil this week and clinching that playoff spot, so doing exceptionally well. And you know, if you told me that he was just coming into the team this week, I wouldn't have known it. Looking at that performance with the team, he played the strategy well. Yeah. He went everywhere he needed to, the mechanics were on point.
He did some good turns in team fights. A little bit of miscommunication in the top lane with that package Valkyrie, and unfortunate one time out on the package too. But they didn't identify when to split push, and I feel like there has to be a voice from Xpeke in that team organizing that split push, because that is something I haven't really seen Power of Evil do, the split. Go on the side lanes, aggressively push out beyond the boundaries to put the pressure, because this was a clear 1-3-1 composition, and that was the only way Origen would win or even come back into this game. They identified it through failure, but eventually they pushed home, and then it took a little bit of overreaching from Unicorns in the end, but glad to see at least some adaptation here from Origen, realizing what their win conditions were and playing towards it.
But at least if you can make those adaptations in game and then win the game, then that's still fine, as long as you're making something happen. And then like the early ZZ route, we were joking about it, also picked up the Banner of Command towards the end of the game, but it did really well. And then of course Xpeke in the side lane, as you were talking about as well.
Yeah, and this is one of the few wins that Origen have done here against a team higher ranked than them.
Yeah. Also very true, and with that win they locked off their playoff spot. Unicorns of Love are still in there as well, and we'll see how they do in the next coming games, because there are 3 remaining for these guys now, because there were 4 games left coming into this week, so we'll see how all that works out. But yeah, Unicorns, they looked so good through a lot of that game, but in the end it just didn't pan out. We're going to throw it over to Quickshot, who is on stage, to take a look at OG's win.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I am joined here by Xpeke on stage after winning a game and not only picking up a win back on stage, qualifying for the playoffs. Talk to me about what it was like being back on stage with the team after what has been quite a shaky split.
I mean, it's super fun to play. Honestly, it's like 10 times better than solo queue and a lot better than practice as well. It feels super good, and you're playing for something, so you really focus super hard and you enjoy every second of it, and it's really good. I'm a bit sad that I didn't get to. I still performed kind of good, but I'm a bit sad that I was like all the time really scared, because I knew that I didn't practice that much, and I thought I was going to be feeding the whole game. So.
Well, definitely not feeding the whole game, just a little bit. The game got a little scary when you guys engaged down in the bottom lane. Sobos went in on Steelback and the rest of Origen collapsed. It looked like Unicorns got a lot of control from that play. Can you talk me through the process of events that led up to that call and then how you pulled back control?
Well, for me, it was hard to see. I think I don't know how you say this word, but I thought I was going to be there earlier, and then we were calling to collapse on them, and we all thought we were going to force a 4v3 really early, but in the end they were like cutting us for a while. They engaged on Mythy first, then we had to back out, and it was a messy fight, because by the time we arrived, we should have recognized that okay, we're not in number advantage anymore, so we should just try to hit the front line and back out. Instead, we were so stubborn that, okay, this is a good fight for us, we have to take it because it's what we agreed on. And after that, it just became really, really hard, because even though I was really strong, as a 5-member unit, they were way stronger than us. They could group, we could not kill their tanks in time, and the Ezreal pop was really annoying. But we did good, we managed to stall the game for a while and play kind of splitting until I had like 4 or 5 items, and Lucian as well.
Yeah, it looked like the split push ended up working in your favor. Closing the game out, clinching a spot in playoffs. I have to ask the question, I think, on everybody's mind. coming into the split, Origen had mentioned you were going to have a rotating mid lane. This is the first time we've seen you subbing in for Power of Evil. I've heard that he's a little bit sick. Give us a little bit of insight into the decision and why you were coming back on stage.
Yeah, pretty much. After IEM, Tristan was feeling really, really sick, but it was just like a normal cold and a bit of fever. So we still practice with him, but yesterday when he woke up, he was looking like a zombie on the sofa. It looked like he was sleeping there, and he was asking me with like broken voice, "Okay, can you play for me tomorrow?" And I was like, "Are you feeling that bad?" Because I haven't practiced at all. Like previous week, I was practicing a bit, but this week with IEM and everything, I did like 0 games with the team. So I was like, "Well, worst case, if you feel really bad, yeah, I can." And that's how we decided on doing it. And at the same time, I felt like I didn't have the level during this whole split. And I felt bad that if I practice, because the best is that they can get good synergy with Tristan, right? And if I go and take days of practice out of him, LCS games, then maybe it's never going to work out. So the idea was to do this more for summer split. But instead, I was kind of forced to come back. So, yeah, but I really liked it. So my idea is still the same. Hopefully for playoffs, if I had the level, I would like to play some games, and for summer split, for sure.
Well, there we go. For playoffs, maybe. That's going to put a word of warning maybe to the rest of your opponents. Congratulations on the victory and for making it to playoffs. You're welcome to join your team. We are about to go to an ad break, and when we come back from the ad break, it will be Vitality taking on G2 Esports in our match of the week. Almost.